services and people, workers for the same markets. Take for example, after secondary school, a child is trained to write one central examination, which is controlled by the federal government. And the federal curriculum is designed to take along states that are educational disadvantaged. So take for example Akwa Ibom. We may have children who are smart enough to be able to get to a certain level technologically, but the exams they are going to write will also need to take along people in Sokoto and other areas who are not up to that level. So that central curriculum now confines everybody to a certain level, which is not globally acceptable. Now, education being in the concurrent list, I want to suggest that this is the time for every state, and most importantly my state, to become innovative in constructing a new curriculum that will allow our children do the national examination, which is already taking everybody along, and also allow them to do global things, which will now solve most of the problem and produce the best set of brains for our state and for our country.
Okay, so that takes us to the issue of creativity and innovation. Some countries today have moved away from the kind of power, even in politics, everything. So it looks like Nigeria continues to be a dumping ground, or a nation left behind.
Sure.
With your capacity and also position as Honorary Special Advisor, Creative Industry, solution lies not just in creativity but innovation.
Sure.
What are the likely solutions when it comes to wholesome changes in both administration and the various economic sectors?
Sure, ID. Like you said, wholesome. It's something that we will need to face departmentalized, so we can now tackle them one by one. Okay, take for example government administration. Yesterday I saw a circular from the office of the secretary to the state government that ministries has been realigned. Sure, a good one. Sure, very good, because at this level you need to have a special ministry for science and digital economy, or you can call it science, innovation and digital economy, because the world has actually moved to that level. There must be a body to begin to draw policies and programs that will guide our people to become part of the world in that direction. And you may not need to wait for Nigeria. Like I've said, if there are any innovative things we need to do to help our people, we need to do them now. Okay, take for example, let me just use the division in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, where sports is now on its own and youth is on its own. I did 10 years ago, we kept saying this. There is no way these two things can work together. These are key sectors on their own. Sport is a key revenue generating sector, and youth development is the power base of the economy of any country. Once we are able to take the middle class of a country to a level that they have money to take care of themselves, to buy things for themselves, to be able to pay for their children education, automatically you have empowered that economy. That's what China did. 20 years back, 70% of people in China were very poor people, but they were about a billion plus. So they now designed a program to be able to give money. It was intentional, a program run by government, intentionally to put money in the hands of the middle people, which constitute like 60% of their population. What was their target? To make sure that once about 400 million Chinese are very rich, it therefore means that anytime a product comes from anybody, a service comes from any company, at least half of that will be able to pay for it. And then they came up with the train service. I'm telling that more than 400 million people takes that train service every day. Can you calculate, even if they're paying $1? You can say 400 times $1, $400 million daily. So once we are able to empower the innovative sector of the economy, the energetic sector of the economy, then that the economy of that state becomes strong. So once you divide youth away from sports, it means that you have intentionally identified that productive sector of the economy, and then you begin to develop programs and policy that will strengthen for them to thereafter strengthen the economy, and for the economy to thereafter strengthen the states. So now the youth ministry will be a development-driven ministry that will help Akwa Ibom youth to achieve their dreams and their visions. And we will always be by the side to make sure that we give our input to make sure that that new ministry will achieve his own dreams. Take for example, the governor said we need somebody who's not more than 45 years to man that ministry. Again, a good decision. If you want to solve a problem, you must bring somebody who is part of that problem, who knows that problem, to become part of. There's no way a man of 60, 70, 80 will be able to drive the youth ministry in the manner, in the strength, in the vision, in the innovativeness that that ministry requires. So for now, a ministry has been created for the young people. A young man will be now put into that ministry to work. But most importantly, some of us must be ready to make our inputs. As a person, I'm already putting out my own inputs for the new ministry, and I will call a meeting and say, this from me in support of my generation. So I believe that very many other people should do that. A welcome development from the governor of Akwa Ibom State. Now to the sport. I don't know if you've researched on the UK economy of recent. You discover that sports and creativity is one of the strongest earners for that economy today. And so now I am moving away from youth to sports development. What is sports development? Sport development is where you set a target of where you want your people to be in that area and within a space of time. So now a sport ministry that is now detached from the youth ministry will set their own target and timelines. What should be the target and timelines? How many young people do we have in Akwa Ibom? How many can we drive into the area of sports? Which area of sports can earn money for them? Which area of sport can earn money for the state? Which area of sports can sell the name of the state? Okay, we have identified football, we have identified basketball, we have identified long tennis, we have identified this, we have identified that. Now, our program then will be how many in each of these areas are we going to start up with? How much are we going to invest? For what period of time? Take for example, the next Olympic will be 4 years from now, and we may say no, we are not looking at the next Olympics, we are looking at the Olympics after this. And our target is to make sure that if 200 people is representing Nigeria, 50 will come from Akwa Ibom, and that our target is to get 5 gold medals, and that all the 5 must be Ekpan, Udo, Etogodo, and James. You understand? So those are when you begin to set programs. And in football, you will say, okay, football, fine. What are the football development programs that will come with? Akwa United is a football club. Ibom Angels is a football club. But that cannot constitute a sport development program in the area of football, because you need to look at the sport academies in the local communities. You need to look at the local communities. Government will now become intentional about funding some of these programs, funding some of these academies, and then setting target for them, and then creating what we can call a grassroots league. Now, the product of this grassroots league is what will sell the name of Akwa Ibom. So our target can be there are about 18 to 20 premiership club side with about 30 players each. So you calculate, when you put the total together, you can now say, okay, we in Akwa Ibom, we are targeting to have 20% of that population, and that we are bringing players from the grassroots league to be able to go and become part of that club. That's at the local level. At the international level, now football is a big business, a high income earner for that matter. So how many of our children will be leaving Nigeria outside every year? And that will be a product of a well-designed sport developmental program. I think most times when I say things from the angle of what I'm trying to do. I look at the long tennis as a very lucrative sport, and one that can sell the image of the state. And I saw what one other Akwa Ibomite, I think is the MD of Ibom A, is doing on the 10, national on the 12, and all that ranking competitions. So that's being intentional about it. And my intention is 20 E2, boys and girls. and the next 8 years. So okay, football, like we said, we talked about football. I don't know if there's any way they will write the history of grassroots sport development of football in this side of the country that my name will not be at the fore.
Okay, but even as you say that, what is all going on with Itwen Football Academy?
A restructuring program.
Okay.
I first started, I had a focus around Itam. I'm an Itam man, this is this place and the environment. That's where I started. I said, okay, from my community, I want to look at young people who are playing football. I want to give them a stage so they can access national and international clubs. So that's where we started. And I was just looking at players within the leagues within my community. Also in 2015, 2015 or 14, we started that academy. And it paid off. Every time you come to my club and you see 40 players, 30 are from Itam. 30. So it was an intentional program. And then I had 2 members of the team in the national team of Nigeria and from Itam. And then if you go to the club size now, like last season NNL, you go to after Akwa United, there's a club before Akwa United, Dakada FC. You find them 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many from Itam? 4, 5, 6 from Itwen FC. You go to other clubs, you go to Enyimba, we have Isaac Promise, all start from Itam. He's the youngest defender playing in that league and maybe one of the youngest defenders playing in the whole Nigerian league. So that's it. Once you are intentional about a program and you set your target and goals and you are able to follow your timelines, so the Itwen is now undergoing a restructuring program that is taking off from the Itam perspective, partially of the Akwa Ibom perspective, to a state development program. So in the next 2 months, we are launching a Rise Shield. A Rise Shield is a grassroots sport talent hunting, talent grooming, talent nurturing competition. So from there, a new team will come from there, and we're looking at a team that will be slightly bigger than the first idea of one, that will be looking at Akwa Ibom as a whole, Ikorobasi, Korikben, everywhere. So we'll put them together, and our next target idea you will see will be to have the best set of young players for years from now.
If you are just joining us, it's Focus on F45, State of the Nation, and this guy is an interviewer's delight. It holds you. At some point, man actually planned for this interview, but you won't believe it. He's prepared. I called him yesterday night, and this morning he's vibrating as if
because I'm just talking.
You just helped me spellbound, and I feel like continue, so we should continue, right?
Okay, I did.
Okay, so we just take a very short break. When we come back, I will now take you back to the youths, policies, how creative industry, how intentional is government. You, as the man at the center of this, what are your plans? What have you put in place? When can we start feeling the pulse of your impact? Okay, so this short break, when we come back, we'll continue. Stay tuned.
This is our home, where we all belong. The place where life is beautiful. The peaceful ambience we enjoy when we live together in unity and love. It's all we go stand together, we go make them better. We be brothers and sisters, no matter where we be. Akwa Ibom, it's all about no matter where we day, we are
first letter of the Arise Agreement.
To ensure food security by bringing down commodity prices, the government launched a Back to Farm initiative and also acquiring hectares of rich, fertile land across all the 31 local government areas for farming. The Arise Food Security Program was also launched the most vulnerable through the Bulk Purchase Agency.
We have also wished to protect seedlings and other input to farmers across the state.
To take agriculture to the next level, we've commenced the technology-driven Shanghai type Igbo model farm. This will not only multiply harvest for all farmers, but also reduce the costs of operations by ensuring that nothing goes to waste.
Let's join hands in supporting this government as we build the future of our dear state together. Our RISE agenda is working. Our Bible is truly a state in forward motion with the upbuilding era. We are driving for a youth reborn-led initiative.
We are alleviating pressure on the parents of our school-age children by providing them with free and compulsory education, school uniforms, shoes, and millions of exercise books. We are building model primary schools across the state.
We have paid more than 16 billion naira in gratuity to retired civil servants and to teachers and local government workers.
Our road infrastructural maintenance efforts spans all the 31 local government areas in the state. We are constructing dualized roads and bridges on multiple fronts.
Also, we've constructed 20,000 seater amphitheater at the Unity Park, Rio, to further drive tourism. Our RISE agenda is working.
Okay, welcome back. Prince Idonwasi Twain is still with us, Foreign Special Advisor to the Governor on Creative Industry. Thanks for staying with us. There's yesterday the Governor hosted the youths of Akwa Ibom State, and we saw how do I put it, a father, sons and daughters relationship where the Governor spoke so passionately about and reeled out empowerment programs for the youths. Now, where does the creative industry factor in, considering what the Governor reeled out yesterday?
Okay, fine. The Governor did well by reaching out to Akwa Ibom youth and for thanking them for maintaining the peace in the state. That was a very good development. We are really appreciated. A lot of people, young people, are happy with that development. In connection to the creative industry, I think what the Governor is doing is a short-term palliative to be able to touch the young people, and he also made mention of the fact that there are other programs that will be able to reach out to them in the next 1 year and all that. Creative industry, like I said the other day, it's not something you can place in one direction. It's having a collective data of the people already in this industry, understanding their challenges and looking at how you got them to compete and make money. So already a whole lot of young people are into that sector, into music, into design, into fashion, into singing, into podcast, into all sort of things. Into it. A lot of people would also want to go into it because it's a money spinner. The coming of technology has opened up whatever creativity to the entire world. Even if you can just do a small sound and you do it very interestingly for you. So there are a lot of young people who wants to go into it. I want to take there was one young musician that performed at the stadium, I think 2 days ago, when the Governor hosted Akwa Ibom youth. This guy used to sing and play at bars, local bars, for hands. I saw this guy, I called him, I gave him something, and I said, you are a star. Keep doing this. One day you will be on the stage. And he was actually on the stage. That's creativity. In fact, one of my friends, we sat together the day I called. He said, leave this boy. You see the way he is. No, please. I said, leave it. I've been listening to this young man. This is creativity. So creativity is something that I see it's not serious. Advent of technology can open that little thing you think is unserious to the entire world, and let's say 2 billion people in the world. That unserious, what you may even term it uncreative. That small action could be creative, could be inviting to at least 100 million people out of this 2 billion. So you see 100 million people watching, and you see these days data is as we are enjoying these things, small money is going straight
to the wallet of the world. But again, I also want to I was meaning this question. Monetization of social media has led to a shabby and unhealthy. A few of Akwa Ibom content creators are sounding raw, negative, and ill-informed. We know that a lot of people like listening, watching, but the image of the state is also being disrupted.
Okay, that's where the creative industry has a role to play, because the document that I've already formulated, this is the first the document, this the creative industry and where we should be in the next thing put together. We are going to call people within the creative industry to say, look at this, and finally we're going to put it back to government. But for now, it has gotten to the level that His Excellency said you need to share that with the commissioner for input and then back. So we are ready at that. A few weeks from now, we should be able to take that back to the creatives and say, look at this document. Can this be what will help to take off the industry? You know, it's something that has not been existing, has not been in existence like an organized sector, but people have been trying to drive it from one angle to the other. So it's just not like this. So this is like entirely new, and some people will be asking you, what is it all about? So we've gotten to that level. But then you were talking about the unhealthiness and shabbiness or lack of
poor production.
Yes,
also.
Yes. Well, that's where the industry supervisors, regulators, not even regulators.
Social media is near unregulated.
In Turkey is regulated because such content doesn't flow. But let me tell you something. Training. We must be intentional about training them. Telling them how to make more money. We can also advise them and show them that they can still do things that are not shabby. They can do things that will not put the image of the state at disrepute, and they will still make more money. We will show them different. But for now, it's just like every man trying to fend for himself. So if you are into an act and you are not making money, and the other person is talking nonsense, move
to nonsense.
Yes.
And make the money.
Yes. So, but once we are able to create, because one of my design for the state in the creative industry is to set up a fund. Is to set up a fund, the creative industry fund, the AK creative industry fund. That fund will now energize the people in this sector, and we can say for you to access our fund, these are the small conditions. You understand? So you cannot go directly to struggling to feed themselves, but if you have a hand financially in what they do, you can try to manage them. You understand?
But by the time what you offer does not equate to what negativity is offering them, because most of those negative things, before you see it, you see 2.5 million plays.
You can also see such views on things that are not negative. I have many I can show you.
Yeah, that's.
But then, because once the sector is organized, we will begin to give them the pedestal to fly.
to flow.
But right now, they're looking for pedestal. They're looking for a way to put their
they are boosting their pages on themselves.
Yes,
whereas
everything.
Your industry can actually attract all the
an organized industry. Okay, let me just draw you to the UK. Just last year they said pounds. So in 4 years to drive that, I'm not saying we should set that aside because we are not as rich, but with the resources you have, you can set up some a certain.
You can start from something.
Yeah. So, what is their target? To create 1 million jobs in 4 years. 1 million jobs in 4 years. And what is the multiplier effect of 1 million jobs within that sector? If you put it together, you'll see it's more than the economy of my state. So, definitely, we need to start. One, we need to. Two, we need to implement the policies. 3, we need to fund the sectors. 4, we need to gather data to know the number of people, the challenges they have. That will supervise and galvanize activities in this AK creative industry. That, by the grace of God, we have put them together as one model, one implementable document. So what is left? You know, the chief executive officer is very busy, and so we need time to be able to look at it.
Again, when you speak, your speed, government will lines slowly, which might not even be the responsibility of the governor. It might be because of bureaucracy passing through the State House of Assembly. Then again, we also talk about budgeting and
there are so many
things. Speed seems to be unbureaucratic. You have already finished everything you need to finish.
Because that's my role.
Okay,
my role is to draw up a model of an organized creative industry that can be implemented with timelines and draw to our people and to Akwa Ibom as a state. That I have done.
Okay, so Prince, let's talk about industry, and your responsibility permeates nearly every ministry, every subsector.
Yes.
Have you ever thought that somebody could think you are coming to take over his job?
Well, that's how the world is now. I can tell the story of Nokia, a very big company years back, and that of Kodak, a very big company years back. One linked to the phone, the other one linked to the film. But because these two companies were not innovative, like you are talking about creativity and innovation. So innovation is that you have to think of what value you can add to something to make it commercially viable, more commercially viable. So now, Nokia were acting as if they were, that other people were looking at what they can add to the Nokia phone to make it more commercially viable and more and more functional to the users. So now it's any way you work and you are not innovative, whatever you do and you are not creative, you are already insecure. The world of today is about innovation and creativity. So people who are not innovative and creative are already insecure people. Innovation and entrepreneurship as a trial subject in my school. So the child from to the senior secondary should understand that the world is about innovation. It's not just about invention any longer. Look at what the other companies look at their invention, or look at what they're really doing that they're making. Look at what is missing in that thing. Add it, give that, and if they're fast, you can take them off. So everybody, you see every company R&D, research and development, every company innovation and activity department, everybody's on the spot. So now creativity and innovation is one thing my governor wants to happen in Akwa Ibom. And so for anybody that is already that you are here and you are not thinking in that direction, it's not just being threatened. You are not in the scheme of things. So for those who are already in the scheme with what the governor is doing, innovation, you are concerned. In sports, innovation and creativity, you must bring it to bear. Execution in the management of the affairs of that place, in whatever area. But now, in the model program that I've already put up for the state, we are looking at every sector that has something to do with creativity. And we are trying to extract how we can add value for that thing to generate income to the people and income to the state. ID, let me tell you something. A state with rich people is a rich state. A state with poor people is a poor state. No matter the amount of oil Nigeria generates, of their people are poor. Nigeria is a poor nation. Even if they will drill the entire oil, they will remain poor until the day they will understand that empowering their people will make them rich. So once you empower, like I said, the strategy is the middle class. Once you have a, you've already empowered the country, because one, the purchasing power will be high. You know, creativity will be bought. There's virtually nothing you will do. People, you set up a private school, people pay for it. You take goods to the market, they'll pay. You create a program, people want to come in. You come with the services, they buy. Whatever you come with, because the greater section of the people that the economy are empowered, the economy becomes strong. And you see how the state become rich? Because you people are very rich. Please give me 2% of your money. Let me help others, those who are at the low. And then when you put the total collection from the rich people in the middle, let's say Akwa Ibom is 10 million and we have 6 million in the middle, and the 6 million are empowered, and the 6 million now are rich, and the 6 million begins to give back to government, the state will be so rich. If I calculate, take for example, I have already done that calculation, if some people give back to the state, it will be more than what we take from oil every month. If you empower people in sport, in creativity, in technology, in this, in that, in the total give back to the state will be more than what we take from oil. That's why you see some states, some country without natural resources, but they now empower their people and they become very rich. Yes, those with natural resources.
Okay, so you just skimmed that question the way I would have loved to, the answer I would have loved. So it is either you sit in or you get out.
Sure. Because you have to look at the man you're already
working with. Okay, so let's talk about Akwa Ibom youths from 31 local government area that we have. With your roadmap, what number of persons are you thinking accommodates almost all the local government areas?
Well, I did, from my background as a computer scientist and from my background as an innovator, data is king to me. And like I've suggested in that model, first we have to take data of the present situation,
which you are.
That should be one of our first projects. Once that data is taken, we will now say this is where we are going, and with this number. Take for example, these programs will be divided into those who are already into the creative business, trained to take it in. So what number can we look at? So for those we intend to take into the business, we'll also have a proportion to those that are already in the business. So put together, but my calculation is like this. We can comfortably push 1 million Akwa Ibom people sectors
out of poverty.
Out of poverty. 1 million.
Well, when we talk about out of poverty, it's vague. It's open. What do you understand by taking people out of poverty? Is it the ability to and or capacity development to be able to feed others?
Fine. First you need to define what is poverty. Once you have a clear definition of that,
taking them out means having a headway against what you mean by poverty.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yes, because once, in fact, every living person understands it.
Somebody who has 1.1 million is called a millionaire, but he would need to remain a millionaire.
Yes, which means because the program must be drawn out, once you are able to take a man who was struggling to eat
to a millionaire.
No, first not to millionaire, because you don't take somebody out of poverty to become a millionaire. No, that's not the rule. Struggling, one, to find his feet, either to feed himself, clothe himself, have where to live, and a little savings, a little left to be able to. So once you take them out of that level, you've already planned another level ahead of them.
Okay.
Yes. So once you take them out of that level, the next level is to push them slightly up to where they will not be thinking of self-sustenance. They will not be thinking of food and clothing and house.
They'll be thinking of adding value.
That's where you are now moving them
out
to say, I can say this man is
a sustainable
level.
Okay, let's talk about a typical Akwa Ibom youth, and then you will do that question. You will do justice to that question in a double barrel way. The local government elections are already around the corner. Slots have been given to the youths. How prepared are these people for leadership? Remember, it is no longer the former system of local government. Some persons will be receiving close to 400, 500 million. How prepared are these people to manage resources?
I think I wouldn't want to look at them individually, but
no, collectively.
Collectively, I want to say that we need to properly put them in the level for the new challenge.
Okay. So what are those things?
To be able to understand the challenge before them. And then two, they have to be psychologically prepared to know they want to oversurface, because that's always the problem. They must be psychologically prepared to know that they want people, to the children, to the forgotten people, to the elderly. For me, because I'm already linked, I'm already part of my own in my local government, so we will try as much as we can to say, man, let's do this. Let's do this capacity building program. I already asked my school and my firm to put up a free capacity in the free. That's for me. And then two, ideas. They must be trained to be amenable to new ideas. And three, most importantly, they must understand that those funds are for the public. They must have the fear of God.
Okay.
And they must be ready to serve their people.
Prince, we're rounding off, but let's talk about. I'm now. E2 have been a tourism hub. If past leaders have actually looked at it in that direction, you were once a chairman of that council. Did you have any roadmap? Did you have? But did you put anything on ground to harnessing tourism in Ife? If no or yes, what level do you think, considering the mindset of the present governor, what mindset do you think, or what do you think the next chairman should do to bring out the tourism potentials? I never knew that the first, is it Crucial House?
Yes.
I've been to Crucial House. To leprosy, what do you call it? Colony.
Yes.
Lepers colony. And I'm told that place has been leased out to the church. What's that?
For us in Itu, I would say
But we don't feel sad that a leprosy colony that should be something people will come from all over the world.
let me tell you the whole truth. I was particularly interested in the emergence of this
Government.
candidate. Yes, because I don't want to talk about the past, but we are here. I don't want to talk about the past. We are here. So there's something I didn't want to happen again in my local government. I didn't want to see somebody that has not taken part, that is not known, that is not part of the integral system of my local government, that knows, that believes, that sleeps the local government to become the chairman of my local government. So because once in a while we're always very unlucky. Yeah? Lucky with governorship, lucky with chairmanship, lucky with so many issues. So here is it already. I said I can to make it to like my local government. And then the deputy speaker, the others, they said we have to come together as a team to be able to draw up what we feel can help our local government, and tourism is one of them. So we can say, Your Excellency, please, in collaboration with the chairman, is there anywhere that you can, just like you promised, that you will make it like you are, it is one federal constitution that is yet to produce a governor. It's a federal constituency and Ikonini federal constituency. So we're waiting on God.
Azabak done?
Well,
federal constituency.
Well, in the Abak, I don't know.
Okay,
We will talk about it much more
We'll
later. Yes.
put, yeah.
So we will. That's why let's talk about the future. We will, as a local government, think is our own vision for the next 8 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then I can tell you that tourism will be one of those key things. Tourism and the two section of the local government. And then another thing that may be bothering me is also that part of my local government has been taken over by but yet not known as a capital city. Yes. So what are the things that Akwa Ibom State can do to help the local government in addressing issues? It's now a capital city.
Okay.
So those are some of the things. In some areas they will create development centers to look at issues surrounding the. If you go to
some states, you hear a capital or
development
like
center.
Calabar South, Calabar North, where
so they look at those areas that was not Uyo was capital of Akwa Ibom. So the development and the population will into the west. And now if you go to road and adjoining areas, you see people still walking till 3 a.m. overpopulated. The infrastructures, initially 1 or 2 transformers.
Yeah.
But a village that is overpopulated, that 5 transformers cannot take, but still with the 1 transformer.
Yeah, like into road and so as of years, those people stay for 6 years.
Yes, so I need to battle as a person, but then by the grace of God, I'm an E2 person. It will be
obviously you are versed. Let's give it to you that you are at home. You are versed and you actually people.
And I'm telling you seriously, irrespective of whether one is in government or not, me as a person, the area of education, the area of sports, youth, creativity, I will be involved. I'll do it to the level that when I speak, people will respect me. Like I've just mentioned education. In the next 3 years, we're talking to Nigeria and we're teaching science as if it's a fiction, as a literature, at secondary and primary school. Science, one, the skills and the practices to solve problems, which is the real science. The terms and concepts and relating science to environment. If you pick any Nigerian textbook, the entire content, 90% is on terms to environment. You hardly find that section that is the real science, the modeling, the prototyping. Why are you still teaching that? Because in the last 3 years I did a very serious research and I see that Europe, Asia and America, they are not teaching science that direction. I imported about 100 textbooks from this and I see whether Nigeria have developed a new science and technology, I don't know, but I know that science and technology is one, abilities to solve problems and make the environment, make way we live better. And from that line to the point that they will be able, when they come out of school, to solve problems for their fathers, to develop new technologies. But you see, our children are trained in such a way that once they come out of university, they become frightened by what they see. And you will see that there's a clear difference between what in the real world. But they're trying to connect the classroom to the real world from primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, so that once they leave school, they see in the real world. And solving a problem in the real world, idea is making money.
Okay. Leave it here because somebody just sent me a DM. Why did I not put out a phone number that you are doing so well? Thank you very much. It was intentional because I knew that we needed to talk. You know, these phone lines, when they start coming in, somebody can take all the time and before you know it, you are not saying anything. So it was intentional. Next time Prince Idon Osrituen comes, I can assure you that we'll do 30 minutes talk lines for everyone to be a part of the program. Your parting shots.
Well, I want to appreciate the governor of Akwa Ibom State for what he did 2 days ago, and reaching out. Yes. Actually, I don't know whether of which generation.
I wanted to ask, which generation am I now, because I don't know. A young man.
Yes, I'm a very young person.
Very, very
I'm young in spirit, in appearance.
You are very young.
Yes, and most times, like when I go to sports, I meet you every morning. Yes, so I understand what I'm saying. So that's my generation, and sincerely, I will do the best I can as a person to make sure that this generation that of my state will get to places.
Wow.
And I want to appreciate him for the respect he has shown the young people. He said, please, if you can maintain it, just that. And then 2, for creating the Ministry of Youth Development. I want to say, Your Excellency, please, for making this to happen, stay on your path to bring the best person. Please get some young men who have ideas to help formulate clear-cut programs with timeline for this ministry, because the young people of Akwa Ibom, the middle class of the state, the economy and the powerhouse of every state is measured by the middle class, and this is the powerhouse. Thank you.
Okay, our Prince Idon Osrituen, former member State House Assembly, former transition chairman, Itulogu Government Area President, honorary special advisor, creative industry to Pastor Moino, the executive governor of Akwa Ibom State. Thank you. Because Akwa Ibom State would be 30 what? Okay, so when the euphoria of that season, I would be able to bring you back. Let's talk about Akwa Ibom, past, present, and the future.
I also wanted to bring one of my students.
Oh, no problem.
Pick one to the studio.
We will talk
technology. Talk about connecting the class to the real world.
Okay, so we leave it here. Samuel Cyril is on the line to inspire us. Stay tuned.
Good morning. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. I'm happy to be here. I'm also excited to inspire you this morning. I'm very sure that you are having the best of time. And this morning, I'm just here to inspire. I'm very sure that these words will so add value to you. I want to speak on a simple topic. As humans, we need life, simply management, managing things around us to have the best in terms of result. Now we've learnt over time that it is result scale of every insult, and hence everybody is in need of a good result. And one of the many ways to achieve this result is to that we are taking management very seriously. Everything about life is meant to be managed. Everything managed. And if it's not managed, then losses will take effect. Management is key. Successful life, everything about us must be managed. And what is management? It is a process of planning, controlling human resources, that which we have, all our resources, so as to achieve her expected goal and desire. Coordinate, direct, plan all our operations so as to achieve our goal and expectation. And that is why life must be managed. Number one, if I must fare well, I must be able to manage information. Information must be well managed to live the best of life. For example, we have so many because they were unable to manage information. The husband may be there fighting the wife because of wrong information. The wife may be there accusing the husband because they each failed to manage information properly. This is very instructive. To live the best of life, you must learn how to manage something. The next thing, you went online, you posted that information without, you now discover that you are in a very big maze because you were unable to manage information. Sometimes you are feeling this discouraged, you are feeling this disappointed. Now, instead of managing this well, you aid them. Now, that wrong management land you in so much trouble. It is very instructive. Life must be lived at its best. The place of information management is very important. Number two, what else can I manage? Manage your emotion. This is very, very important. Management. This is very important to life, important to business, important to association, important to friendship. How you manage your emotion. Somebody walked into the office and is very angry with everybody because the person had issue at home. Now one can clearly see that the emotion of that person called a leader is not well managed. Then you have to manage your emotion. You need to deal with what it personally instead of venting them out on the next person or your subordinate. Management of emotion. If you cannot manage your emotion, you have problems even in your family life. As a husband, as a wife, as a father, you discover that your children, because you were unable to manage your emotion, ill emotion like impatience, you just have to learn how to be patient. This is also important. The difference between anger and danger is just the word D. Once you bring in the D into anger, for you not to mess up things, learn to separate the D from the anger. And what's the D? I call that delay. You delay your anger. Even the films you watch, you discover that even bombs, they have to be timed. 1, 2, 3. You take things easy. Delay action. That is anger management. Now, part of emotion. So you need to learn how to manage your emotion in terms of anger, in terms of taking that saying next person. You just have to do well in this line. The next one is manage your relationship. Now, some persons treat other human beings like mechanic. Once you have a problem, that's when you can remember to call somebody. They are there like a plumber because you have a need. This is somebody you should look out for. This is somebody you should have a close relationship, but you are relating with him either because you are about getting married, either because you are about dedicating your child, either because you have and you feel that you could just pick up your phone and call this person. No, human beings are not machines, and don't treat them as such to solve your problem. And that is why you have to learn how to manage your relationship. I have said this over time, that if you have to beg people every other time you have a problem, you have a need, every other time you need help, you have to beg so they can help you, then you are very poor in managing relationship. Yes, this is very important. If you want to have the best of life, you just have to know how to manage relationship. A Chinese proverb says, if you want a year of prosperity, grow crops. You want 10 years grains, the trees and the rest, they will take time, 5 years. But if you want a lifetime of a lifetime of prosperity, you learn how to manage relationship. You learn. The people you see today as your subordinate can be your leader tomorrow. You have to learn how to manage this relationship. Learn how to people, learn how to pay attention to people, learn how to go all out to help the next person. This is very important, because you run into so much trouble as the day comes. So you have to learn relationship management. Know who is your mentor. Know how you relate to your mentee. Know who is your leader. Learn to be respectful. That's part of managing relationship. You learn respect. Know who you should respect. Give that respect. We are growing as humans. Now we expect to be respected. When you yourself, you know you can handle that part properly. So you have to learn relationship management. To manage relationship with your children. A time comes that you may, if you don't manage this relationship well. In the office, learn how to manage relationship with your colleagues. You can't be fighting with everybody and you expect us to believe that they are always wrong. Everybody, your neighborhood, in your office, everybody, you are quarreling with them, and we can't always see you as the perfect person here. At such instance, we know who is the problem, that you have to look inward. So relationship management is very important. The next thing to manage is your gift. Yes, we are blessed with gift and talent, you can't be doing the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result. You have to go ahead to push it out to the world, manage them, know what to bring out today, know what to become a testament to gift and talent management. Over time, managing them has brought so much happiness. At times I look back and I tell myself I'm happy because I was able to discover this early, and I went a step further to add action to the giftings that I was blessed with. And the next one is managing of health. You can't afford to eat everything. A senior friend of mine will always say, what you eat and eat and eat will eventually eat you up. That's just the truth. What is, or how is your eating habit at the moment? What are you eating? This is, if you know that sugar is not good for you, you have to manage your health on them. Too much salt, remember your kidney, remember your liver. Management of health is very important, so you won't run into trouble. You have to manage your health in terms of your, you can't afford to sleep with anything. Management of health. Now you have a problem and you know that this and this and this is what you should do. Ensure that you are doing it. If they give you prescription to take one drop at a particular time, good sense of management says take that drug at that time. This is very important. Everything called sickness, as it were, I believe, has a solution to some extent. Whatever you are passing through, ensure that you are managing your health, managing the resources that you have. This is also important. What you earn, but you are drinking, smoking every evening, doing all sort of things. Your resources management. How are you managing your energy? This is also very important. You have to understand that life is all about management. What you nurse will grow. Whatever grow wild is because it was not properly tamed. As a part of management, what you nourish will flourish. If you manage your health, you manage your resources, you manage your family, you manage your potential, you manage information, you discover that at a good time you live a life of peace. As paramount to human existence, I will always tell anybody who cares to hear that peace in the mind is worth more than millions in the bank. Somebody can be in that escort car with police escort, but you have Gary to soak. But is this inner peace, and that comes by proper management. Everybody cannot be your friend, so you want to manage your friends, your association, and many other things. So look at your life. Not managing well this morning. It's just to do a review. Sit back, think, preview your life, see where you have faltered, and go ahead to make changes. And I'm very sure that the brighter days that we are expecting is coming in no distant time. This is the size of that which I have you another Thursday morning. I believe you still remember this a philosophy that irrespective of what we know, there are still mountains of knowledge to climb. Hussein, fondly called Sam Inspiration. Thank you and God bless you.
misomo ana mama oge yo Akwa Ibom misomo happy anniversary to Akwa Ibom you Anna mama oje happy anniversary. Happy anniversary to Akwa Ibom.
Focus on M45 and time to discuss pension. And whenever we have an opportunity to talk pension, we will talk it the way it should be. How pensionable is a pensioner and a pensioner, and who actually is a pensioner? What are those benefits accruable to you, a would-be pensioner, as you are still working, especially in a pensionable job? What are those incentives available that you can access even while still working? Well, I have a pension consultant in the house, the president of ABIC Consortium consultancy firm, James. At number 6 Barras Road, that's number 5 Wellington Bassey Way, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. James holds sway there as the CEO of ABIC Pensions Managers or Big Pension Limited. James, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's talk about the vision about ABIC. Why did you just wake up one day and decide to float a pension consultancy, considering that we never heard of this kind of things before?
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. Actually, I've had some years of experience with some of the best pension managers in Nigeria, and while working with them, I discovered a lot of challenges the plight of retirement savings account holders, especially in the area of documentation and accessing their pension funds. So, and I said, let's see how we can put up an organization, a firm that would be resolving pension related challenges. And so, by the special grace of God, we had to set up Abi Consulting Limited in July 2020. So that's how we got the vision.
Okay, so what are those challenges a typical would-be pensioner and pensioner pass through?
There are a lot of them. Plenty challenges. Living in Nigeria already is a challenge. so if so there are a lot of things that issues related with pensions. Some could be inability to access your funds after retirement, discrepancies in remittances even as an active worker, and then one of the greatest challenges we also have as Nigerians is in the area of documentation. Pension is all about getting the documents right. So if two persons can apply for funds from a pension manager, the most likely to be first paid is the one who has complete documentation. And so we now saw the need, especially in the area of documentation, which is our greatest area of strength. And so we try as much as possible to help retirement savings account holders access their pensions as and when due.
Okay, so let's also talk about the PFS, and then the other one you call what?
Pension fund custodians.
Custodians. What's the difference, and why should I even enroll? Why should an employer enroll staffers in pension or pension scheme?
It's a fantastic thing. It's part of savings. It encourages the savings culture. Naturally people in Africa don't like savings, but it's a fantastic thing. Because we've had situations where people resign or are out of job, and then you see them running to come and look for those monies that sometimes they see as not effective. They are not significant. Some of them will tell you, I earn 25,000, I earn 30,000. If they remove pensions,
what is left?
But as the money is removed in installment, yes, over time it becomes a good amount of money. Talking about PFCs, that's pension fund custodians and pension fund administrators, upon commencement of the pension scheme in 2004, 2005, having seen the history of the pension scheme in Nigeria, what actually led to its failure, the government now said, okay, let's see how we can restructure the scheme to have more or less like a tripartite arrangement where we have a regulator, a custodian, and an administrator. Okay, so what an administrator does is, administrator does paperwork, doesn't touch money, and then custodian keeps the money,
doesn't do
paperwork, while PENCOM does the regulation. So what happens is, if I apply to an administrator for money, the administrator will do the paperwork, send to PENCOM, PENCOM will approve and send to the custodian, who now does the payment. So that's just a simple
so it's just a tripartite
arrangement
for checks and balances.
For checks and balances, yes.
Wow. Okay, so you said something about challenges pensioners face while still in service and after service. Where does ABIC come in here?
Okay, we interface, between pension fund administrators and the retirement savings account holders. There are some issues that the administrator cannot resolve. For instance, it's not the administrator who is supposed to go and look for documents for you to come and process your money. So the job of the administrator is, you present documents to the administrator, and then he presents to the PENCOM, who will make the approval. So we go as much as looking for documents for the retirement savings account holders. We interface with HRs of different firms. Most times you could leave a firm, you have monies in the pensions account, but maybe you were sacked Probably somebody stole something, especially in the private sector, and then the person was sacked. Some employers know that you will need them at the point of
getting your pension,
so they deny the retirement savings account holder those documents, even though there's a clause in PENCOM that says if they write a letter to the employer within a specific time, the employer does not respond, they can go ahead and process, because it's actually the person's money, but sometimes that gap, we try to fill that gap so that you wouldn't need to wait
for the window
to expire, probably because of challenges that the person may be facing at that point. And then we make documentation very simple. We have affiliation with different agencies that with just a phone call, the documents are given to whoever applies for it, as long as the person meets the criteria to get those documentations.
Okay, so you serve as an intermediary,
yes,
between the pensioner and all the organizations,
yes.
So now a lot of people are not aware that there is APIC, and a lot of people who even know there is APIC may not really know how to go about it. What is your organization doing?
Okay, we do retirement benefit advisory services. That's we advise people on how to open a retirement savings account, where to open a retirement savings account, where to open a retirement. We have probably about 22 pension managers, but we have the ones who have good value proposition. Some are doing better than some because of superior investment value. So we try as much as possible to advise people on who will give you the best value for your money. And so also apart from advising you on where to or who to choose as your pension manager, if you want to move, there's a window that allows you to port from one pension manager to another. We'll also give useful advice on that window. And then for people who get pensions, after receiving pensions, when we process and you are paid, we advise you on how to invest the monies after you've been paid. Yes, we give you different investment portfolios, that will give you not too much profit, but slow and steady profit. Some people collect money, say, let me go and build a house. I would rather tell you, instead of you collect 10-15 million, instead of building a house, there are some platforms where you could put the monies, then it gives you very little profit, but it makes sense over a period of time. And then in 1 year, 2 years, you take what is on top, and then you can start a building and then sustain it.
But do you also consider the inflation percentage between when you got the 50 million and the 2 years or 3 years, what you will eventually spend? But that's by the way. What awareness programs do you do to draw the attention of pensioners to the fact that you offer these services?
Okay. We, apart from the fact that we have a functional website, we have a Facebook page. We normally do, most of the PFAs advertise us more.
Oh, okay.
Because we have a target audience, and those are the pension fund administrators. Our clients mostly come from pension fund administrators and referrals from people that we have also assisted. Yes, okay. We have a lot of referrals. In fact, more than 70% of our clients come from referrals from people who have treated well. And also the kind of services we offer, whether you have money or not, APIC runs the services for you, and then you pay later.
At the end. Okay, so assuming, maybe before we talk about that, let's talk about what benefits are available for a would-be pensioner who is still actively involved in work. So assuming I have saved and I have need for some money, is there anything that I can do to assess part of my money?
Yeah, for those in the public sector, there is a window for you to access residential mortgage. Even though it's a little bit stringent in terms of documentation and conditions, but it is possible. A lot of people have accessed it. You can get 25% of whatever you have contributed, as long as you have contributed for up to 5 years. That's both the employer and employee have done. You've contributed for at least 60 months, that's 5 years. You can get 25% of that amount, which could be used to buy a property for the retirement savings account holder. That's for people in the public sector. Private sector, the same thing, but you know, in the private sector there's a little flexibility in terms of accessing funds. For the private sector, retirement age is 50, and then for the private sector,
retirement age for private sector is 50.
Yes, by the Pension Reform Act. And then for the private sector, if there is a loss of job, if you stay for 4 months, you can't get any job elsewhere, you can also access 25% of whatever you have saved over time from your retirement savings account. So those are the options that are available.
Okay, so at HABIC now, how do you assist people access this money?
It's very simple. Very simple. We just we liaise with the relevant pension fund administrators, and then sometimes even at PENCOM we have contacts that after applications are made, we make sure that at the point of approval it doesn't stay longer than necessary. So those are some of the things we do. We just interface with the relevant agencies just to ensure that the process of both processing and disbursement is seamless.
Okay, so I'm a pensioner.
Okay.
Or would be, that's so possibly at retirement I'll start earning, but I'm saving now.
Okay.
Since I got enrolled, I have not gone to my managers, I've not gone to anywhere. I just know that every month deductions are made. I don't have any information. What are those general information I need to know as we speak? What has happened in this? For instance, I've been 10-15 years old in government,
okay,
and I've not done anything since then. What are those things I need to know? General information as a pensioner.
Would I say you are an endangered species if you have if you have stayed that long and then you've not there are so many had any contact with your pension manager? It's quite a dangerous thing, you know, because majority of the challenges we come across is one of these things you've said now. It's just what you've said now. Some people, you know, people keep contributing, they see a lot and they say I can't have access to it, so let me allow it to be there, you know. But at the point of maybe close to retirement, there are a lot of issues that
will crop
up and you can't solve those issues immediately, you know. So for instance, we had somebody who had worked for 34 years and had only had remittances for 17 years.
Wow.
That's 34 years, will retire in the next 1 year, has done enrollment, and for 17 years money has not been entering the account. The person never bothered, you know. And then at the point of retirement, when he went for data recapture, he said, give me account statement. He now discovered that there are a lot of discrepancies in remittances over 17 years. You see, such issues are not issues that you start pursuing in a day, you know. And you go to blame the pension manager. It's not the pension manager's fault, because if you had been interfacing with the pension manager, they would have been able to make you know, a lot of, they would have been.
So what is the work of the pension manager if he cannot draw your attention to discrepancies while you are still at work?
You see, the truth is, the way the thing is structured, the pension manager may likely only assess your account when you go to the pension manager to ask for information.
Wow.
Yes. So if you don't go to your pension manager, the pension manager, of course, it's not the responsibility of the pension manager to ask your employer to pay money into your accounts. It is only when you go to your the pension manager to complain that you've not seen money, that's when the pension manager will now ask your employer. But if you don't go there, the pension manager will be, the thought of the pension manager will be that you are fine. So those are some of the things.
So the physician, the sick person must look for the physician.
Exactly.
At all
pensions,
times.
yes. Like I said, the same way you treat your pension, your bank account should be the same way you treat your pensions accounts. But because people feel they don't have access to the monies immediately, or they will not have access to the monies immediately, so they don't bother until at the point of retirement it becomes a little bit stressful for them.
Okay, so just as you have said, what are those general information? What is the latest?
Okay, currently there's it's not too current, but I think it started on the 1st of July 2019, a data recapture exercise for retirement savings account holders. What is data recapture? Just to update your record from 2004 till date. A lot of things must have happened in your life. You've definitely grown beyond the level you were in 2004. Some people may have been living in rented apartments. They must have moved to their permanent houses. Some, as at when they joined work, may not have had children, but they've had children who must have also grown. And then for the information on your records, we used to tell people, we say, if you were not married as at when you were employed, and over the years you've gotten married, it is appropriate for you to go and update your record, especially your beneficiary record. There are some pension managers that would not answer you if you put maybe your brother or sister as next of kin, and peradventure you die at the point of processing. They would insist the person on the record is the person they will deal with. And we've had very serious issues where such in-laws do not want to compromise, even when the wife is the legal beneficiary on the letter of administration. So those are some of the issues that while you are working, you should be able to put them in place. And data recapture exercise is one window that can help you update those records that you had put before 2004 and thereabout. So we were asking people to go and retirement savings account holders to go and update their records. And of course, you cannot access the mortgage stuff if you do not update your records.
Okay, so I think most times this is where ABIC might likely come in. So let's talk about ABIC. When I walk into ABIC, what are those things you offer to the public, you offer to the pensioner? What are those things I can get easily when I come to ABIC?
There are a lot of services you can get. Number one, I talked about documentation. Every document you need to access funds anytime or in any of the PFAs, ABIC provides those documents. We link you up with the relevant agencies, the courts, seamless letter of administration processing, National Population Commission, death certificates for those who want to access disease benefit funds, and then for 25%, whether it is as a retiree or as an active worker, we help you get those documents. And I told you, we also give useful investment advice and tips on where to invest your funds upon retirement, so that you can have value for your money, because money is assets. So you plow them in, you get good return on investment. And then we also volunteer information on good pension managers and value proposition. And then also business, or we'll do some business support services in a big consulting. So it's a one-stop shop where you can, even in terms of every documentation, especially those who have date of birth correction issues on national ID card, we link you up with agencies that will help you get those services done within record time.
So assuming I ask you to speak directly to a pensioner now, because we are running off.
Okay.
Talk directly to a pensioner. Tell him who he is, okay, and what he can get from you.
It's simple. There are a lot of, as a pensioner, there are so many rights and privileges, that a pensioner is entitled to, So if you walk to ABIC, we'll give it to you the way it's supposed to be. Most of these pension fund administrators, I wouldn't say they hoard information, but there are some rights that the pensioner is supposed to be entitled to. that due to maybe the confidentiality policy, they don't allow people to get access to it. But it is in the Pension Reform Act. But since our people don't care about what is written in the Pension Reform Act, we care about what is written there. We read for them and tell them, what they are supposed to be entitled to as retirement savings account holders. And then I used to tell anybody who has any challenge that is pension related. Some people say, my father died and left so much money. Even if you don't have the account details, come to ABIC, we will look for the account details. Just tell us who the pension manager is, where he worked, and the person's name and all those details. We've done it for plenty people, and you don't need money to come to ABIC to
get things done.
Get things done.
So
where pay us after.
Where is ABIC and which phone lines?
ABIC Consulting Limited is located at number 5 Wellington Bassey Way, opposite Christ the King Cathedral Catholic Church. Our phone numbers are 07062588286 and 003507301. We're also on Facebook, ABIC Limited. You can log on to Facebook and then see for yourself the services we provide as a company.
Well, James, I think we just have to leave here. Hopefully one of these days when we come, we'll just have to open the phone lines for pensioners to talk to you directly and then ask those reasonable questions. But in the meantime, we have to leave it here. Thank you very much for coming.
It's a pleasure.
See you at number 5 Wellington Bassey Way,
www.abic.com.ng.
abic.com.ng. You can just click onto it and then access their services, and www.facebook.com/ABIC Limited, and you will be treated fine. Okay, so we just have to leave it here for today. Focus on M45 as Camful Cyclocon David, indefatigable producer. Thank you very much for all the work you do, and to the people behind the scene who have helped us do a very wonderful work today. Next week we will be counting down to Akwa Ibom anniversary, and we will be talking to great Akwa Ibom people concerning the past, the present, and the future of Akwa Ibom State all through the remainder of Thursdays in September. We will be doing justice to all of that. Thank you very much for being a part of this show today. I'm leaving. My name is ID James. See you on the rebound.